Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Bennett with BrewBodz Barbells, where we lift pints and weights. And today we're heading to Fort Mill, South Carolina to check out a brewery that's built around something a lot of us grew up with, video games. But don't let the arcade-inspired branding fool you. Behind the bright colors, the fun can art, and the gaming references is a brewery that's pulling together some of the most well-crafted beer. Today we're taking a look at Farm Simulator, a raspberry wheat honey ale from them. And while this beer absolutely delivers on the raspberry and honey, it gives a great opportunity to talk about one of the most underappreciated beer styles out there, the wheat ale. Now let's get into it. One of the things I immediately liked about Replay Brewing is how they knew exactly who they are. Their entire brewery revolves around the gaming culture. Not just the gaming itself though, the experience, nostalgia, fun, community, right? Whether you're talking about arcade cabinets, consoles, parties, getting together with your friends, Replay Brewing leans into what that feeling is. And honestly, that's something I think craft beer does really well too. At its best, craft beer brings people together. So when I saw this, I immediately understood what they were going for. You got bright colors, retro gaming graphics, playful artwork. Everything about it feels approachable and fun. Then I got to the beer itself on a flight that I got when I first got there. Now, when you pour Farm Simulator into a glass, it is a series, so make sure you know exactly which one you're getting. This right here is the raspberry honey wheat variant, and it's a beautiful color to it. It just glows in the glass. It's vibrant, it's inviting, like a light white peach color to it. And honestly, it looks exactly like what you would expect from like a raspberry wheat ale or like a raspberry wheat beer to look. On the aroma, that raspberry jumps out to you. It's got fresh berry, bright fruit notes, basically fresh picked raspberries. And then underneath the fruit character, there's something that's really nice to enjoy. And that's the flavor on this. Because what made me grab this beer in the first place was that second ingredient, honey. On the first sip, the raspberry leads the way. It's fresh, juicy, recognizable, right? It's like fresh. But what impressed me about this is what happened next. That honey starts building through the middle of the sip and then hangs on through the finish. It softens everything perfectly, rounds everything out, and creates a really smooth drinking experience. A lot of these like fruit beers either lean too sweet or too tart, right? This one stays right in the middle of that. The raspberry gets its attention. The honey keeps you coming back though. And at only 5% ABV, this is one of those beers you could easily sit outside on a nice Carolina summer afternoon and just truly enjoy. Now, what is a wheat ale? Now, this is where I think things get interesting because a lot of people hear wheat beer and immediately think of one style, right? A Hefeweizen or like your Blue Moon, right? But wheat beers actually have much bigger history than most people realize. Wheat has been used in brewing for centuries. Long before modern craft beer existed, in Germany, wheat beers became famous for producing flavors like the banana and the clove, right? With their yeast strains. Those are classic Hefeweizens. But American brewers took that wheat in a different direction. Instead of focusing on the yeast character, the American wheat ales focus more on the drinkability. Clean fermentation, light body, refreshing character, and they work incredibly well at a platform for fruit additions. This is exactly why this beer works. If Replay Brewing had built this beer on a heavier malt backbone, the raspberry, I think, might hide the honey. But wheat creates like a softer canvas, or like a blank sheet of paper. It allows the fruit and the honey to become part of the show. Wheat also contributes texture, a softer mouthfeel, a little bit of body, and the smoothness itself really makes it approachable. That's one reason fruit wheat ales continue to be one of the gateway styles into craft beer in the first place. They're flavorful without being intimidating. Now let's talk about the honey for a minute because honey is actually a fascinating brewing ingredient. Most people assume adding honey will automatically make it like strong honey flavor or super sweet. That's not always true. Honey is mostly fermentable sugar. Yeast loves it. That's where mead basically came from. So, which means much of that honey character can disappear during fermentation. That's why creating a beer where the honey remains noticeable takes intention. Replay sourced their honey locally out of North Carolina, and instead of allowing it to be completely disappear in the beer, they found a way to keep that character present. You can actually taste this, which is why I got this beer. That's what makes this beer stand out to me. What's interesting is beers like this have become incredibly important in craft beer, while IPA lovers, like myself, often chase the next big hop bomb. Breweries also need approachable options, beers that new drinkers can get into craft beer with. Fruit-forward wheat ales, honey beers, easy drinking seasonal offerings. These styles help people discover craft beer without jumping straight into the aggressive bitterness or high alcohol. Farm Simulator does exactly that. It's approachable, flavorful, memorable, and it's still interesting enough for those long-time craft beer fans. So my final thoughts on this is Farm Simulator isn't trying to be the loudest beer in the room. It's trying to be a beer people enjoy. And honestly, I think Replay Brewing nailed this one. You get bright raspberry character, authentic honey flavor, a smooth wheat backbone, and a beer that's incredibly easy to come back to. I really wish I got a whole pack of this. A brewery that's committed to creating a fun and welcoming experience like they have, it's easy to see why people love to talk about Replay Brewing. Big shout out to Andrew as well. If you've ever met him at the festivals, you already know how passionate he is about introducing people to these beers and sharing their brewery story. After trying Farm Simulator, I'm definitely backing Replay Brewing. And if you've had Farm Simulator or visited Replay, let me know in the comments. And if there are other South Carolina breweries you'd like me to feature, drop those down below as well. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe to the channel, and follow along over on my Instagram as well. I appreciate the attention. These breweries really appreciate the opportunity to get featured in front of you guys as well. So make sure you head on down, check the description of this. I'll tag their brewery in the description as well. And guys, I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.